The Southern Tablelands town of Yass is the latest community in New South Wales to voice anger about the impact the closure of regional healthcare services is having on residents. Yass Hospital lost its maternity ward and operating theatre in 2004, and locals say all too frequently it has no doctor on duty, meaning they have to travel 50 kilometres to Canberra to get vital medical care. And with a growing number of babies born on the Barton Highway, the town is now appealing to the state government to restore the hospital services. Kate Evans reports.
Someone's going to come to grief on that highway. A mother or a baby is going to die.
Jasmine Jones was pregnant with her third child when she moved with her family to Yass in January.
I had a history of postpartum hemorrhage and fast labour, so I was pretty keen to find out how far away the hospital was and who was there to help if my baby came in a rush. And I got quite the shock to find out that even though it's a hospital and if you have an emergency, you're still not welcome up there if it's obstetrics. And that's pretty frightening. And the message in the community was very jumbled about whether or not you should call an ambulance, whether or not you should turn up to the hospital. And of course, on the night when everything went down, my worst fears came true.
In the early hours of June 20, when her contractions started, Jasmine Jones knew there wasn't time to drive to Canberra.
So we went straight to the hospital here in Yass. My contractions were 4 minutes apart. I was in excruciating pain. And unfortunately, there was no one there to help me. They called in a midwife, who ironically, is not working at the hospital, but is working in town. And she came with us in the ambulance. And true to my own predictions, we did have Apollo by the side of the road on a winter's night in the dark and in the cold. And travelling at 145 kilometres an hour, labouring, is something that no woman should have to do. It was absolutely horrific, frightening, truly frightening to be labouring and wondering, are we going to hit a kangaroo on this dark highway? It was pre-dawn. I had wonderful people with me, don't get me wrong. The ambulance drivers and the midwife are put in a horrific scenario of filling this gap that should be being met at a hospital. A warm, dry, safe hospital. I wasn't asking for much. I didn't want machines that went ping. I just wanted somewhere to have my baby safely. Do you want to get the nappy ready?
Nappy, where's the nappy?
They should be just under here, and the wipes. On the same morning as me, another lady was transported. 2 weeks later, another lady had hers just 5 minutes outside of Yass. The baby was born and the father still had his foot on the brake.
In 2004, Yass Hospital's maternity ward and surgery were closed. This year, there have been 21 days the hospital has been without a doctor, with local GPs often being advised only the day before there won't be one on site over the weekend. The local health district service says that's because fewer Yass GPs are available for hospital duty.
We've recruited doctors out of town to come in and service the hospital, and in the main that works very well, but from time to time we're really stuck. And we're stuck because of a national shortage of people to do that kind of work.
Locals say hospital staff do their best, but health services are declining at a time when the valley is one of the fastest growing areas of New South Wales. Residents are now petitioning the New South Wales Parliament to restore the services they've lost.
It's terribly traumatic for a mother-to-be to have a baby on the side of the road.
One of our lasses took her son up there for an asthma attack. 5 hours they waited for a doctor, only to be told it was a waste of time, go to Canberra.
The petition was started by Dr Ray Burns' GP clinic 2 weeks ago and has so far garnered more than 500 signatures.
Last week I had 2 patients who had to go from here to the hospital by ambulance. But there was no doctor there. They did their best. Fortunately, we got away with it. But that's what we did. We got away with it. And this is not good enough.
Dr Burns says the uncertainty means his patients sometimes put off seeking treatment.
We just don't go. If the hospital's not available, they'll put up with it and wait till morning or something of that nature. sometimes they do it to their own detriment. Had a man this morning come in, I've had a chest pain all weekend. Now, this is the sort of thing that you say, oh my heavens, what have we got now? This man should have been in hospital on Saturday. No, he put up with it.
We're planning quite an extensive community engagement program to get to grips with the expressed dissatisfactions, because we do acknowledge that there's community dissatisfaction with what is seen as happening within the hospital.
Max Alexander says over the next 4 months that process will explore ways of improving health services in Yass. But he says reopening the maternity ward would require hiring a large number of new staff to ensure the hospital could safely cope with obstetric emergencies.
At the moment, we have trouble occasionally with providing basic service. So this would be an enormous leap in workforce demand and, by the way, also in dollars to provide that service. So I'm not preempting the outcome of our planning. What I'm pointing out is that it's a difficult prospect to restore it.
Other towns seem to be managing their maternity wards with just a handful of quality staff. I mean, looking at places like Parkes and Forbes. I mean, Forbes has half our birth rates, and they're being promised a new hospital. Parkes have been promised just in April that their maternity ward won't close, and they've got a similar birth rate to us.
Again, with safety being paramount, we'd have to be very, very careful to modify a full service, given the distance involved.
Jasmine Jones says she looks forward to that community engagement. Although baby Apollo arrived safe and sound, she's not going to drop the issue.
It's only going to be a matter of time before somebody comes to grief. And I'm so glad that we weren't that statistic, but we could have been. And that's why I'm speaking out, because I so do not want this to happen to another woman.